How many times have we heard this phrase? I'm not sure. Maybe you haven't heard it. The divine loves an empty cup. It's such a bold, beautiful, kind of tender, short phrase. But in it, there is so much. The divine loves an empty cup. We don't know what that means, really. And certainly with the habitual mind and the conventional way of being, the stereotypical way of being in life, we certainly have no idea what that means, regardless of what we mean by the divine. It's the empty cup that we're really talking about here. Let the divine be another conversation sometime, because that's trying to give a name to the ineffable, give a name to that which can't be named, that which can't be described, but can only really be pointed to. But we're not going to go there. We're going to focus on what is this empty cupness about us. What does it mean to be an empty cup? Consider that. What does it mean to be an empty cup? To the mind, it's unfathomable, because it can't get there. It can't go to the place of emptiness without putting something in it. Some name, some phrase, some description. And so it's not really empty. Emptiness is not necessarily absence of thought or form, or even feeling, or anything to do with the human. It's as if the emptiness of the sky in many ways has nothing to do with whether there are clouds or whether there are not clouds. The vast emptiness of the ocean, the vast emptiness of the ocean isn't the absence of waves. It's just the fact of oceanicness, of skyness, of sky nature, of ocean nature. Emptiness is the precondition. It's the root, the base, the totality. And the divine loves an empty cup points to us having the capacity, when we consider it or turn our attention to it, or allow the possibility of it, or go on the journey of it, for ourselves to become empty in some way. Empty of thought, empty of emotion, empty of heat, empty of toxins, empty of stuff. We are so full of stuff, it beggars belief sometimes. I don't know whether it's increased in the 20th, 21st century, or the human condition has always been filled with stuff. Ultimately, we're just filled with ourselves, full of ourselves. Not in some pompous, puffed up, egoic way in that sense, but just full of the preoccupation with all the things that we've not digested in our lives. For example, the past, the grievances, the hurts, the wounds, but also the foods, the toxins, the toxic chemicals, the biological, emotional, mental, spiritual matter that we haven't been able to digest. And so it's in us, it's, clings to us, we cling to it, it clings to us. Maybe it gives us safety, maybe it gives us a sense of grounding, it gives us a sense of at least an idea of who we are. It's not who we are, but we cling to that idea. So we're full of it, we're full of stuff. And the journey is not just to reach for awakening, whatever that might be, or healing, whatever that might be. It's to actually turn around and pay attention to seeing if it's possible to clear out the stuff, to clear up the stuff. It's like a house, isn't it? Like a garage. I never realized until I came to America how many garages are just full of stuff. And it didn't really happen so much in England, and not bigger, smaller houses, and maybe not such an accumulative culture. I'm not sure about that, but stuff in the house. What's your house like? Full of stuff? Everywhere? Cluttered? This is one thing I learned from Feng Shui many years ago, is to, almost as a matter of continual healing and cleansing, is to clear up one's house, to clear out what's no longer useful or necessary. If you haven't worn it for 10 years, maybe you're not going to wear it. If you haven't used it, if you haven't read it, if you haven't done anything with it for 10 years, maybe you don't need it. Because nostalgia and attachment and, fear, or some romantic idea, or the idea that we just need to hold on to that in case, can be, not always, I don't know, it's different for everybody, but can be an anathema, because it sort of accumulates in us. The physical space, the body space, the emotional space, the mental space, the spiritual space is all filled with stuff. On the spiritual level, it's actually filled with ideas, filled with imagination of what awakening or healing might be like. It's full of ideas about ourselves, full of beliefs, full of erroneous beliefs, many of which aren't even our own. And they get in the way because they kind of hijack any move towards emptiness, because you can't think your way towards emptiness any more than you can drink your way to sobriety. And on the emotional level, obviously, I don't need to tell you, we're so full with the baggage of emotion unprocessed that there's no real space for emptiness. So we paint emptiness as a kind of thing somewhere, half terrified of it, half drawn towards it. But that means we have to let go, yeah? Emptying the cup is letting go. Emptying the cup is surrendering those things. Not surrendering, it's not a doing, I surrender. It's surrendering it all. It's a surrendering of the very things that keep us filled up. And so on the physical level, as I've done recent videos about purification, there's a great deal to be said for emptying the cup of the body and paying attention to that, because it has a dynamic and profound effect on the rest of one's being, on the emotional level, on the mental level, on the spiritual level, because we come into a kind of deeper harmony. I think we're very frightened of emptying. Maybe secretly or overtly we're frightened of emptying because we've become so attached or unaware even of how full we are with ourselves. And that filled with ourselves is what needs to be surrendered. It's the self, ultimately, that needs to be surrendered. But that can be a long, or not necessarily, but it can be a long process. So meanwhile, to pay attention, to look, to see, what am I full of? Is there any room within me for emptiness? Because emptiness is the way. Emptiness is the path. And the more you touch it, the more you feel it, the more you know it, the more you are sensitive to when you might be becoming filled up again. Until that is resolved in many ways. But as part of the dance, you empty and then get filled up again with stuff, or some reactivity emerges. And then you find ways of dropping that as well. Everything must be dropped. Everything is dropped when we depart, when we die. Why not drop it now? Find ways of dropping it now. The divine loves your emptiness. And the divine is where the grace is. And the grace loves your emptiness, your availability. Emptiness is availability. If you've already got stuff in the teacup and then you pour some beautiful tea on top of it, it's just going to spill out over the edges. But that beautiful tea, when it's filled into an empty cup, is something beautiful to drink. So it is with us. That's the way of things. Bless you. Thanks for watching.